Hello, brain lickers. I am so glad you guys are here. This is Lick My Brain. I'm Mare, and today we are very fortunate to have a lovely couple, Mr. Norm and Miss Toni Poulsen, and they are with, as you can see behind them, SomaYama Breath, and they are here. I will admit I don't know that much about it, but I am learning. And a little tiny backstory is I found them on I think Facebook or Instagram. And I started following them and then I started sharing them. And then pretty soon it was like, yeah, I need to have them on because there's so much good work that they're doing. And I would very much love to have that available for you all. And it is. So let's welcome them and we're going to hear all about the good stuff. And here we go. So, hello, guys. Welcome, welcome.
Hi, Mary. Thanks for
Hi,
having us.
Hi.
good to be
You're
here
welcome.
today. We're excited to talk about somatic breath work.
Yes, please do. Tell us all.
All right. So we are Norm and Toni, and we met uh, almost 6 years ago. And when we met, we were, in our mid 40s, and we brought two families together, and we were both on a healing path, and we were looking for new modalities and new ideas and ways to work on stress and trauma and all those fun things because we all go through life, but we have so many things that are holding us back that came up for us during our lives. And so we realized that without working through those things, that we wouldn't have the opportunity to have the very best relationship with them. And so we were searching and we stumbled across somatic breath work. And after some studying, we went to a session and we realized that it was just so mind bending and mind breaking, really, that did so much for us that we realized this is what we wanted to do. And this is how we wanted to show up in the world and to be there for other people and to be able to help people as our career. So we're super excited about somatic breath work and the opportunity to share it with you today.
So what we love about somatic breath work is that it's a tool that we all carry with us. It's something that is accessible to everyone. And so the fact that oftentimes we take for granted what our breath can do, it's very, very powerful. And there are many modalities of breath work that each have their own purpose. So the breath is capable of helping us in so many ways, depending on how we use it. Somatic breath work is a therapy. And so it really goes to the root. It helps us get to the root of why we do what we do, what is stuck in our body. And that modality helps us to be able to break free from patterns of behavior that are self-sabotaging. It helps us to deal with the past that's things that have been stuck with us and that we have been maybe cycling through, for example, trauma from childhood, from adulthood, stress that we all accumulate over time,
Mm-hmm.
and especially if we're in a chronically stressful situation,
Right.
and grief. We all
Mm,
encounter loss in our lives, whether that looks like the loss of a loved one in the form of death or in the form of divorce, just moving on in chapters of our lives. So there's so much that we're all dealing with, and we're all equipped differently to
mm-hmm.
handle. And our nervous system is taking care of us, and so it's protecting us. That's its job. And so it's taking these situations when we're not equipped at the moment to handle something that comes up, it stores it away for later, like packing it in a box and putting it in the garage. And it's great because it helps us keep on going. But if we
Mm-hmm.
don't come back to those boxes and
Right.
unpack them, those they will accumulate in our lives, and our body has to use energy to keep those sustained. And it's also creating patterns in our lives that we don't even see. Those boxes are still affecting us. So if we don't come back to them, they create those patterns, and also they put us in a position where we our bodies are using energy for something extra, and so our immune system is suppressed. So we love the fact that you can, through something as simple as using your breath, sit in a session with facilitators where you're just being told, okay, you're going to breathe like this, and through this experience, be able to connect with something, a layer that your body knows you're ready for, and be able to move past something and finish a loop.
Yes.
Finish the cycle.
A cycle, and be able to move on from that. And then the next time, as a therapy, it is something that's progressive. We just take one layer at a time. The next time you'll be able to address a new layer, and your body knows what that will be. So your body is so intuitive, it's so intelligent, it knows what we need, but oftentimes our monkey mind gets in the way, and we can't decide, even in therapy, what we need to talk about. We don't know exactly.
Right.
And our body still does, though. Our body knows. So we just got to get that brain out of the way, and we use the breath to do that.
You know, and the thing is that it's repeat until complete. So when we have stresses and traumas, those stresses and traumas continue cycling through us, and they keep repeating until we complete them. And that means, you know, for instance, maybe you have a history of bad relationships, and the thing is that when we haven't processed and worked through those things that we're holding in our bodies, and we get into a relationship, for instance, we don't know where we're at. We're not sure what we need, and we follow the same patterns, and we continue to pick the same kind of people. And so that's because we're not completing these things inside that need to be processed, so that we are not coming from the wrong place when we go to get in a relationship or anything of that matter.
And technically, when we're in that loop, it's our nervous system giving us another chance to complete that trauma cycle, or that stress cycle, or that stuck pattern. It's giving us another opportunity. Are we ready now? We're going to go into another situation that looks the same because we didn't complete that trauma cycle in our life. So we're going to be put into a situation that allows us this time to be victorious. And so what we're able to do is, if we can get, instead of just packing it away every time it happens, learn from it, and also come to this experience where we can reframe. So using the breath in this experience, we're able to, in the second half of our session, it's a reframing, a repatterning. And that's the part where you're able to put pieces back together a little differently, or get rid of some pieces completely, depending on what it is that you need. So we should probably explain what it actually looks like. So do you want to tell what a session looks like, or do you have
I actually had an example I wanted to share first. So just a repeat and complete. We have a regular client that comes, and we'll just call her Chrissy. And so Chrissy, when she first came to a session, she said that she had lots of stress and trauma, but she wasn't sure. And she said she'd done all kinds of different modalities, but she wasn't able to get to the root of what was causing it. She kept going through these negative relationships. And so she kept doing it over and over and over again. And it was an abusive, somewhat verbally abusive relationship, which really cloned the way she grew up in her family life growing up. And she hadn't processed that yet. So when she finished the session, she said, I got it. I think I figured it out. And so she explained, you know, that she hadn't processed that. But this is the first time she was able to see it with all of the things she'd done. It was the first time she was able to see that and to start working on it. And so
beautiful.
We started again 2 weeks later, and she came and she said, I almost called this guy again. And I told myself, I'm going to wait until after my breathwork session, the second one, and before I actually called him. And she said she finished the second session, and then she told us the story and said, I don't have any urge to call him whatsoever.
Oh, nice.
And she said, you know what, I'm figuring this out. I'm back on track. And after by the third one, she said, she was able to move away and completely not talk to this person anymore. And she realized and now she's working on what it was that originally causing this problem.
And that manifested differently in her life as well, in the fact that she was gaining clarity and confidence to be able to improve her life in different areas. So she even had decided that she was in a not only toxic relationship, because these patterns show themselves in different ways in our lives, in many different ways. So
Right.
she also realized that her work environment, she already knew that her work environment was not appreciating her, and she was able to have the confidence discovered within herself through breath work, to be able to go in there and say, well, first of all, start looking for a different
Right.
job, and then go in there and say, I'm giving my notice, and
Yeah.
get a job that actually was in her right vibration. It was giving her what she needed to be able
Oh, that's
to
amazing.
and be appreciated. And those are the things that can change in your life. Those are actual circumstances in our lives that we can be stuck in, that are not serving us, and we just don't know how to leave those things. And it's not to say it always comes through in the form of ending a relationship. A lot of
Right.
times it just creates adjustments within our perspective and the way we approach those relationships.
Yeah, and we checked in with her just 2 days ago, and we hadn't seen her for a while. She said, "Oh, I got the new job, and I'm traveling all over the United States. It's the best
Heck
job in
yeah.
the world." And she's like, "I'm going to come see you guys as soon
Nice.
as I'm back in town." But anyways, it was just really incredible to see that she's moving forward and that she's getting somewhere. And this is
Mm,
what it's just so incredible to witness, just the opportunity we have to hold space and hold that safety zone, and that's so that people can let those things go. And it's truly our mission, and it's truly our calling.
Absolutely. And there's so many other examples that we have of just real life change that
mm-hmm.
happens through, or growth, I should say, that happens through somatic breath work. It gives people permission to feel, to move through something that they did not know even necessarily was an issue anymore.
Mm-hmm.
There was a client who realized after her session, she said, I spent the entire session thinking about my father who passed away in
1998.
1998. And that was something that she thought she had already moved past, but the grief was still there. The loss had still affected her, and she could see how it had affected her. She understood this is something that is still with me right now. It's still something I need to move through. And so she was able to give herself permission to work with that again,
That's,
and to address that again in her life, which she didn't realize she needed to do.
yeah.
So
Do
she was
you
able to
find
sit
that,
with that.
go ahead. So sorry. Go ahead.
No, no worries. Go ahead.
I was going to ask, do you find that, that when people come in to work with you, they're just set on, they already know what they want to work on, and then it's something completely different comes up and they're like, oh, like that happens a lot, or
It happens more often than not, I would say.
mm-hmm.
The reason for that is because there's a big disconnect between what the body is holding and the communication with the mind. And so, with our brain not understanding what's being held necessarily in the body, what happens is that the body is ready to let something go that it needs to let go in order to move forward.
Right.
But the body knows what that is, and the mind doesn't. And so, what will happen? Oftentimes, someone might say, "I'm looking for peace," and instead, that something might come up about maybe some grief of someone who passed, or grief of losing a job, or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
something that was most important in the body. And what people find is when they start to release that whatever that is in the body, everything else starts to come with it, and it's a very smooth process. And so by being able to follow what the body needs at the time, it's actually getting yourself in connection, the mind and body. And that's what we're trying to do, is get the mind and body connected again so that we're able to process those things that we're holding.
I had a client that did actually the opposite of that. In fact, she came in with the desire to, or at least expectation of screaming, because she had so much stress in her life and grief and trauma. And it had all built up over years and years. And she ended up experiencing complete peace through her session that she had never been able to touch on before. She was like, I didn't want to come back. This was so beautiful. And it just was so shocking to her that that's what she got out of it, when in fact her intention was just to let everything go, or give herself permission to just scream from, you know,
from the rooftop
kind of. And in fact, that's not what her body gave her this time, but it's what she did receive was exactly what she needed. She needed that peace. She deserved that peace. She deserved a moment of just taking it all away and just being. And that's what she received. It was beautiful.
I
And
bet.
so it comes in so many different forms, but yes, that happens all the time when we have an intention mentally, and our body has another box for us to unpack instead.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So the actual process.
So in somatic breath work, the process, what we do is we do a first half of our session as an accelerated breath. And the idea of the accelerated breath is to get us into the sympathetic nervous system. The sympathetic nervous system is where the fight or flight is. And so when we get into the sympathetic nervous system with the accelerated breath, it allows us to be in that space where the body is allowed to start letting things go and slowly allowing us to let go of the things that need to come out first. And the thing about somatic breath work is that our immune system was so smart that it held our traumas for us and our stress for us because we couldn't handle it at the time. But the thing about the nervous system is it's smart and intelligent. When it has the opportunity, it will let go what it needs to at the time, but only within a safe region that's not going to cause you to have a breakdown or be have too much to handle. Our body's very intelligent, and it will only allow us to bring up what is we can handle at the moment. And so it's very important to understand that we're not going to go there and just let everything out, because it would be too much for us to handle.
It would be overwhelmed through the busyness of life, and what we want to reclaim and reconnect with that.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of opportunity. It looks different for everyone in every breath session, and even an individual each time they do breath, somatic breath work. Each session will be unique, and that's because it's a building process. If you're doing, especially the integration, which we'll want to talk about as well, that in between sessions, that every time it's a new layer. You're a different person the next time you arrive. So your body is ready for something the next.
So every session is completely different. We've often had people on a second session ask what was different. What was different was actually that they came into the session in a different space and their body was in a different place. And so it was ready to let go of something totally different than the last time they were there.
Right. Nice.
So integration is just as important as the session itself, because if you, for example, unpack a box and look inside of it, but then you just repack it, you just close it back up. When you leave, you jump back into life, and you start in with all your to-dos and just forget what came up. you're just pushing it right back down. So even though you may have that awareness that it's there now, if you don't do anything with it, or at least spend time with it,
Right.
that it's very likely that nothing is going to actually change. So the important piece with integration is just giving yourself the space and the time
Mhm.
to either journal or be in nature, or just be alone, have some meditation time, just prayerful time, whatever that looks like for you. But just take time to get to be with those things that came up, and also allow throughout the next week. We suggest 1 to 2 weeks after one session before you do another for integration, and that would allow you just to have more things maybe come up. You've created space, so you've moved things around, and that's going to be a process then that continues over the next week or two.
And I
That's
just want
powerful. Question I read in one of the answers that when we were talking before, when we were doing our little you're going to come on the show, let me know all the goodies. You guys had mentioned that you had worked with addiction by using
yes.
the somatic breath. So could you tell us a little bit more about that? That's quite fascinating.
So another thing that's really good with somatic breath work is helping people with addiction problems. You know, we have a person that started coming to our sessions and who was on their path of recovery. And they went to the session and they finished and they said, I just cannot believe it. I've gone through this 12-step program and I've had the hardest time connecting with my higher power. And I finally connected with my higher power
Mm,
in session today. It's just so powerful. And
that's
so
amazing.
now he's a regular. He comes back every 2 weeks to 3 weeks, because it helps him to find that space again and keeps him in the right mindset and keeps those traumas and stresses at bay so that he's not building those up again and not needing the self medication.
Right, right. Do you
Exactly.
guys, do you have like an age limit or a certain age that you guys kind of steer away from? Or like how do you handle if someone wants, like if I wanted to come in with the grandkids, because
Oh,
we just
yeah.
know maybe there's some stuff. How do you do that? And how do you do that?
So the way we do it is just we recommend that it would be probably 16 and older. It although depends on the responsibility of the child and the
Okay.
ability to process, because we don't want a child to come that's not ready and have maybe an adult that is crying or upset when they're letting go and for them to be traumatized. And
Okay.
so it really depends on the child. Had um, we have had as young as 12 in a session, and he was very good with the session, and I think that can work for some kids, but it just depends on the children.
And we do also offer individual and smaller group sessions. So what we would recommend for smaller children is just a smaller group. If the parent wanted to come and be part of that,
Or
they would
just
probably be holding space. Technically, as a parent, typically, I should say, as a parent, we often will be thinking about, oh, this would help my child. And
Right.
so we would be invested in our child's outcome more than our own. So it wouldn't necessarily be an experience that we would be letting go.
Right.
Although you can.
And we do also have the option of private sessions. We will come to you. So that is also an option. So we do have ways around doing that so that it might be more comfortable for children. So
And then
and
we are in the process of creating more programs for teens, for children, so that kids can be together. It's a little smaller, a shorter session.
Mm,
It's more age appropriate as far as them being able to um, sustain their breath for as long
right.
as the session requires. It's definitely work. So younger children in a regular session might struggle with the 60 minutes of breath.
Right.
Right.
And
Okay.
so for children, we would typically reduce the session length. And so it would be more comparable to what they could handle. So
Yeah.
that would probably be the best for that. So,
Sounds amazing. Sounds amazing. Okay. Now, your origin story has to be
yeah.
shared because it was just so I love it. So if you guys would tell us how it all started with the Facebook, not Facebook, Craigslist.
All right, let's do it.
We love sharing our origin story.
Good.
So much fun. So I will start with the fact that we had both experienced divorce, and we both were not dating. We both were not looking for anyone. I had a lot of self work to do, and I had been working on that, and somewhere in there, and I had no desire to find someone else for quite a while. And a friend of mine had suggested that I write a list of things when the time is right, what I want in a future spouse. And so I ended up coming up with a list of 60 bullet points. And
Dang. Good for
it was,
you.
yes, very, very thorough.
She's very thorough with everything.
Love that.
That was the most important, you got to get that one right. So,
Absolutely.
so then I put that away and I forgot about it. And then I one day finally decided to start clearing things out of the house, and finally decided to put something up for sale on Craigslist at the time. For me, that was the only one I knew about. I didn't even know that Marketplace existed at that point.
Right.
And so I put a table with bar stools out for sale. It was just covered in paint. It was an art table. And I put it out for sale at 10:30, like at 10 at night. And by 10:30, I had heard from someone um, who he had said he was interested in the table and could come in the morning. And I felt very comfortable just even having a conversation in that evening, not knowing if it was a man or a woman at the time, because it was just a text message that I received. But first, something made me feel very comfortable just being, even though I was in a protective mode at that point, just being able to converse with him at that point, at that night. And then he came the next morning, and we ended up talking for 4 hours. He just came into my house and just, I gave him the table. I showed him the table and I said, I didn't finish cleaning it up. I was working on the bar stools, but here, let me get you a magic eraser, and if you want to finish it later. And he was so gracious, and he was just like, oh, thank you. That's an awesome idea. And thank you for that. And he just put it in his coat pocket. And that meant a lot to me because I was from an upbringing where you don't accept gifts, where it's like, no, I'm imposing if I take anything from you, so I won't accept that. So it actually really meant a lot to me that he accepted it. And then we just started talking, and he was here for another 2 hours before I thought, I'm hungry. I think I want to eat something, but here I have a stranger in my house, but I don't want him to leave. So I don't want to say anything because I think I'll just remind him that it's been 2 hours and he'll, leave. So I did end up I was needing a drink. So I'm like, can I get you some water? And he said, I thought he was going to go, oh, look at the time. But he was like, oh, yeah, sure, that'd be great. And then we talked for another 2 hours. And I realized after he left that I wasn't even wearing makeup. I hadn't even done my hair. I just had a ponytail, no makeup, workout clothes on. And we'd had that whole conversation comfortably. For me, that's out of my comfort zone, but I didn't even realize.
Yeah.
And then we ended up, you want to tell about the table?
Yeah. So So I got the table and I took it home and I refinished it. And then I sent a picture to her of the refinished table 3 days later. And then we never stopped talking.
And so that table eventually came back to me. So it's lovingly named the boomerang table. And
Well,
we used that table,
It was our head table at our wedding.
the bride and groom table at our wedding. And of course, we
oh,
still have it. We'll never sell it. So it was that's the story of the table and the magic eraser
magic.
and our beginning.
You guys are gonna start. Everyone's gonna start sending magic erasers to you guys.
Right?
And at the wedding, we actually where people get little gifts, little mementos or whatever from the bride and groom. We gave everyone the story of the magic eraser, our story of the table and the magic eraser, and we had a magic eraser attached for every person to. That was
Stop.
their gift.
That's so good. That's so good. Nicely done. Love that. That. Well, what's coming up for you two? I mean, what's going on? What's coming up? What do we want to share?
So we have sessions almost every weekend in Boise, Meridian, and Nampa. And we have a special that we offer for new clients, and it's $20 to come to a session. It's usually 35. Our upcoming sessions, we have one tomorrow at Yoga 6, 4:30 in Nampa.
Okay.
And then we have one at Elevate Mind Body next weekend on Friday at 7 p.m.
And what are the dates next weekend?
Balance Yoga.
Balance Yoga in Meridian,
Yep.
which is kitty corner from the village.
Yep.
Okay.
So the dates are November 15th.
Okay, great.
That's a Saturday, and November 21st. That's a Friday.
Yep.
Awesome. Love it.
All of it is posted on our website, which is SomaYamaBreath.com. And you can just go to our website and see all the upcoming sessions. We have many more to choose from, so you can just find one that fits in with your schedule. If you're looking for an individual session, that can be scheduled on our website as well. You can just pick the time that works for you on the
And
times
pick
that are.
which provider you would prefer. So,
Yeah, you can pick. You can
Choose
have
one of
me, or you can have Norm, whatever you are more comfortable with. And we enjoy the masculine, feminine dynamics. A lot of people comment on how that really kind of covers the spectrum for them
Right.
as far as their needs are concerned in a session. When we're doing the group session, we do it together. When we're doing individual sessions, it's one or the other.
Okay. Okay. Well, you guys, this was so much fun. I'm so glad that I reached out and you guys were so gracious to say yes, 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 we'll come on. So thank you so much because I
Thank
can't
you
wait.
so much.
I'm definitely going to attend one of your sessions because I'm dying to see, I don't know. Do I want to see what comes up? Maybe I don't, but I'm just gonna because it just looks so relaxing. So I'm gonna give everybody your social media links and all that good stuff because they can go on Instagram and watch some. You've recorded, not recorded, but videoed with no sound for privacy, just a few sessions that you guys have done, and it just looks so incredibly peaceful. So I thought, yeah,
Absolutely.
gotta do this. It's amazing. So thank you
Yeah,
again.
there's a
Thank you
lot
so
of good
much,
that can
Mary.
come from it, and you don't ever have to be worried about it because again, your body's only going to bring up what you're ready for. So it's always a good step forward. It's always
Absolutely.
a good step forward.
Yeah.
So, and we've got space for you. So we're excited to hold space for you.
Good, good. Well, we won't do a podcast during that time, ladies and
No,
gentlemen.
no.
God.
So we'll
Well,
create that space of safety.
Exactly.
good, good,
Exactly.
So thanks so much for having us. This was a
Yes,
lot of
thank you,
fun.
Mary. We
Oh,
truly
good.
appreciate
I'm
it.
so glad you guys came. We'll definitely do these things again because I'm sure there's going to be stuff coming up that I've thought of, and I'm want to, yeah, we're going to keep talking. So,
We'd
okay,
love
you
to be back.
beautiful souls. Well, thank you again, everybody. Thanks for hanging out with us. And I am going to make sure that in the show notes, you're going to be able to find their website, links to all of their socials, And yeah, this was just a lot of fun. So thank you so much. We had some good brain licking today. So thank you so much for that.
Thank you.
So yeah. Okay, you guys. So get out there, be good humans, lick some good brains, and remember, don't be a dick.